Hello, everyone. My name is Macy Sotantio. I am the founder of Autism Career Pathways, a nonprofit based in San Francisco Bay Area. I wanted to talk about including everyone, all kinds of autistic people, including non-speaking and minimally speaking and unreliably speaking autistic advocates when you are doing life IGs or you're doing presentation. If you are in a position with a company or an organization to do a panel for Autism Acceptance Month, please include someone who relies on an AAC device to come join you, because those voices of autistic people who are needing very complex support for communication, they need to be on the center and front. So I just want to remind everyone to include and take the time. You can give non-speaking people or AAC users or spellers all of your questions ahead of time so they can prepare their answers on their AAC device. And please, please, please pay them. So intention is very important if you are serious about true inclusivity as part of your company culture or school culture or therapeutic place culture. Then include all kinds of neurodivergent people, especially the ones who are the most marginalized and needing much different communication methods. So just a reminder. And today I want to introduce you to one of our ACP's advisor, Kaishawna Fleming. And Kaishawna is using an AAC device at times when Kaishawna's not able to use math words to speak. And today, Kaishawna and I will show you how you can co-present online, just being yourselves, taking a little bit of time, doing a little bit of preparation ahead of time, and everyone can do this. So please help non-speaking, unreliably speaking autistic people to be heard on your platform. Hi, everyone. Kaishawna, I am going to find you now.
How are you?
Hi. Hi. So good to see you. I'm okay.
Hey.
I'm trying not to lose my voice. So I'm very grateful that you are here. So I just want to tell you to take the time, take your time. So if you want to respond using your AAC device and you need time to put
Okay.
it together, just signal me and I'll wait for you. Okay? Okay, so
Okay.
let's give you the stage.
I know.
Please tell us a little
Um,
bit
I
about
would have to
yourself. Don't be
say
nervous.
I am a college student. I am attending the University of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I am an education major. I am studying education for the purposes of helping future and current autistic people, neurodivergent people, even non-disabled people, all different kinds of people, But my primary focus is autistic people, disabled
Yep.
people, um, neurodivergent people, because a lot of times they don't get the representation that they are supposed to have in terms of media, in terms of movies, TV, what have you. A lot of times they go unnoticed. And so, like, I want to bring the attention of those who do speak like me, or, who use different alternative forms of communication in contrast to the typical speaking communication, if you will, because I was not given the option to use any other, you know, forms of communication. I was expected to just speak you know, and I have an autistic relative who's sort of like going through the same thing, being taught to speak and not being given alternatives to communication when vocal mouth speech does not work for them. Even though they do speak and they can speak, sometimes they might not be saying what they want to say. They might just be saying it just because people are expecting to say it, and that's me. Like I'm about to be 22 years old. I've never had the chance to use AAC because it wasn't something given to me. It wasn't an option for me. It was something I was told was only for a select few of people. And, I always grew up being told, oh, you're not one of those kids. And I look back at that and I'm like, that is just the most dehumanizing, ableist crap I've ever heard in my life. I've met with autistic people online mostly. I've talked to them. I've made mistakes myself, and I've had to be like, hey, I made this mistake. I'm sorry. I, you know, will do better. I will, not react so quickly, and I would think about my answer before saying it, that kind of thing. And we have April coming up, and April.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I don't even want to talk about April. I just want to, live through April and just like, just go through it and just not have to think about it. Like, yes, it's a month, but it's a month specifically designed for autistic people, but it's not the autistic people taking the narrative. My thing is for this April, I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight online. I don't want to fight over symbols, terminology. I just don't. There's no use in doing that. My thing is, I've learned that if people use, different symbols for themselves, that's A-okay. We need both acceptance and awareness because there are people who do not know what autism is, who do not know what it's like being autistic, and so you have to teach them. It shouldn't be all placed as autistic people to educate them, but where are they going to learn? Who are they going to learn from? And I've unfortunately had to step back away from many, many autistic people in terms of like online spaces because of the toxicity that is being ran rampant. And it's just, you have people attacking parents, you have parents attacking autistic people. It's just this division that does not need to be there. And so I want to be a person that is open-minded, even if somebody does use a symbol that is against the naturalistic being of autism. I just want to take that time and be like, hey, this symbol is unfortunately not the best symbol to use for autistic representation. Here are a few symbols that you can use. It is okay if you use these symbols for yourself. Talk to other people to see what their opinions are of the use of the symbol. It really depends. My thing is I look at a lot of cultural aspects, a lot of backgrounds that are not my own, even though I am a Black autistic, deaf, a low vision person. I have a whole bunch of different disabilities, and it's just, I don't let them take over my life in terms of I don't let them consume me in a way that prevents me from doing what I want to do. I do things alongside my disabilities. I do things to better myself. Even though I'm speaking, I'm still
Mm-hmm.
speaking from my heart. But, when I was, because I'm not used to using AAC because it was not given to me as a alternative way to communicate, I'm not used to using it in public spaces like Instagram Lives, like YouTube. I take that back. YouTube, yes. I have gotten a little bit better at using
Mm-hmm.
AAC with YouTube, but not in a public forum such as Instagram Lives because I have to build up my confidence in using that. I can't just use it on the spot because I'm not comfortable. I'm not confident in myself to use it because I'm already, to be honest, I'm not gonna lie to you. I use 3 languages back to back. One is English, two is American Sign Language, And three is
Mm.
code switching. I'm not going to get too in depth in code switching, but code switching is where I myself, as a
Mm-hmm.
Black woman, I don't, this is not my naturalistic tone that I speak. I speak in this tone when I am speaking to non-Black people, and this is gonna sound weird, but non-people of color, like mostly white people, mostly white passing people, I use this form of tone, this timbre of voice, if you will. And so when I'm around, sorry, I just got an email. Okay, never mind. But
You're
like
good. You're
I'm
good.
using this voice because you know I'm so used to people telling me to speak proper English, and that is a form of whitewashing. That is a form of whitewashing my
Mm.
cultural background, my ethnicity, my race, my gender, my disability. And so, like, when I'm speaking, I speak like, are y'all okay? Are y'all good? Are y'all, like, are y'all tripping? That kind of stuff. And so when I'm not around people of my own background, of my own skin of color, if you will, I have to conform to the
Mm-hmm.
systematic ways that people speak in society. I have to because I'm not gonna get a job if I'm speaking like, "Are y'all tripping? Are y'all good?" I'm not. Nobody's gonna want to hire me, and I'm just. This is just me being real. I'm being honest, And so when I'm dealing with that, along with being autistic, being queer, being deaf, being having low vision, it's just like sometimes I'm like, and it's sometimes I have to look and I'm like, am I really, is this the society I'm supposed to be in? I have to question that a lot because I'm going against systems of power that are not neuroforming, that are not willing and able and wanting to accept people that are different from the norms of society, which is you have to speak proper English, you have to look a certain way, you have to be a certain way. And so I'm trying to undo what I've learned. I am trying to get back what I've lost growing up, which is the use of echo radio, which is the use of alternative formats that were not given to me as an option because I was always told, oh, you're not like those kids. You need help, but you don't need that much help. And so when you say that so many times over and over and over again, it's like a record on repeat in your mind, and you internalize that. You internalize that to the point where you start believing in it. And so I'm at the point where I'm trying to undo that, where I'm trying to
Yeah.
build my own self identity, build my own
Mm-hmm.
person. You know, I always went off the backs of people in terms of I always did things because people told me to. I always did, just people pleasing, and it's a lot of along with being autistic and stuff and trying to be my own person, I still have to mask. I still have to hide my true self because I am Black. I'm not white. There's still some ancestry test that tells me that I am. I'm not, you know. Even when I'm in stores, I'm gonna give an example. I was in Michael's. Michael's is an arts and crafts store, and I went into the store. I had my backpack because I always had to take stuff with me. Whether it be music, whether it be just things that I like to carry with me as comfort items. I'm always having it in my backpack, and I'm always carrying that backpack with me. And so when I'm walking into stores, no white person has to think about this. And I'm just keeping it real. I have to think in my head, are these people thinking that I'm going to steal? Are these people thinking that I'm a thief? I have to think that. Why? Because I've been racially profiled in a Walmart, which is my all-time favorite store. I always tell people do not diss Walmart. But I've seen some shady things about Walmart that I'm not liking. And so when I'm walking into these stores, I have to act a certain way so I don't appear threatening to the next person. So I don't appear in a way where people are going to assume something of me that's not true. You know, take away the autism, take away the low vision, take away the disabilities for a second and think, I have to think about these things. And then when you add all of that on top of that, that's just another layer of what's the word? That's just another layer of things I have to think about that I shouldn't have to think about. And I do. Yeah.
Right. You have layers of mask
Yes.
that you have
That's
to
what I
put
was
on
looking
top of
for.
one another.
So I'm like, I shouldn't have to do that, but I do because I'm black. You
Hmm.
know, like I'm walking down the street, or people looking at me sideways, or people gonna think I'm threatening. I'm this, I'm not, and this is where the term masking comes into play. People, you know, I've met a lot of autistic people who said people should not have to mask. That is true, but you have to add on intersectionality in terms of black people sometimes have to mask for their own survival. They have to mask because if they don't, that could mean life and death for them. And I'm just being 110% honest. That is just something that I have to live with, unfortunately. I have to build all of these different, I guess, islands, if you will, on top of like, oh, I'm black. I have to act this way. I have to think this
Yeah.
way. And it's a little bit worse in college because I am around mostly white people, and when I am around other black people, you know, they are also masking. You know, most of them are not autistic. The ones I've met, they're neurotypical, but they still have to mask for their own survival. They still have to go along with what people say because that's the system that's by design that's put in place for black people. No, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. You have to do it. You know, and so you internalize that. You start believing in that. And so I'm
Hmm.
trying to get away from that a little bit. I still have to mask. I still have to do things to better my safety and survival in society. But I'm trying to undo
Yeah.
some of it. You know, I'm trying to learn how to be my own person, learn how to be my own
Yeah.
self instead of being what people want me to be. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing about why you are here as an advocate. And we hope that the future for
Right.
autistic, Black, and BIPOC children in the future will be better because no one should have to shoulder or be so worried
Exactly.
about
And
how to behave,
I'm
how
gonna
to
add something
speak
else too.
as
I
a
have been in
disabled.
band. I've been in
Hmm.
band since I guess
Hmm.
seventh grade or something. I don't know. I've been in band for a while, you know, and I've noticed that I'm the only black woman in band in college, and, and even in music, I have to perform a certain way. I have to go by traditions that are not my own because that's what is expected of me. That's what I have to do. If I don't
Yeah.
do it, then I'm an outcast, then I'm this and I'm that. And so it just builds this level of arrogance that I see in a lot of people. And like you know, they tell me, oh, well, not
Hmm.
trying to do this. Like I get it. You're not. You may not be, but the sense of discrimination is always going to be there. I don't care if you're unintentionally being discriminatory. If I'm feeling a vibe that I'm not rolling with, I'm gonna keep my distance. And I'm not gonna apologize for it. I'm just gonna keep my distance because that's
Hmm.
not what I'm, no. I'm not going to accept blatant racism, discrimination of any kind because that's not who I am. That's not what I'm here for. I'm just not going to do it, you know. And so that's why I try to show
Yeah.
people like
Yeah.
you can't just expect people to just baby you and just help you undo racism. No, you have to do that on your own. If people are telling you that you're being racist, just own up to your making mistakes, even if it's unintentional, don't try to hide it. Don't try to lie, because people, once you lie,
Yeah.
once you start getting into the habit of, oh, I'm not racist, I have black friends, you're still racist, my dude. The racism has not disappeared. And it's 10 times worse when you have a
Yeah.
black autistic person, because then when some autistic people might take what you say in a literal sense, and I do that too sometimes. But some black people who are autistic have gone into spaces and have learned racist ideologies, and then have come back to sacred spaces and just I don't like yeah yeah
Do harm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah
So, I know that you love music
yeah.
and you show a lot of your music on YouTube channel. So talk to us about what music,
So
playing your
for
music
so for
instruments, what does
me,
that mean to you?
I
Yeah.
always don't know. It's not a tough subject to talk about, but it's something where I have to build confidence in. That's one area that I have to work on in terms of musicology. I um I primarily play clarinet, which is what I'm practicing. Was practicing. Um, I've been playing in band since seventh grade, but I've been playing clarinet for about like 11 years maybe. And so it means that I'm able to escape in my own world a bit. I'm able to interpret the different pieces on my own, you know, in my own thoughts. Even though it's written by somebody else, I'm still able to play it in a way where it means something else to me, you know. It means I'm able to find deeper thoughts and express it through music, basically. Um, I love
Hmm.
to analyze pieces a lot. So, like, when I'm listening to
Yeah.
like different pieces, I would always analyze them and just like listen to them. And like, if I hear something, if I hear something that I didn't hear before, I would go back and I would re-listen, and I would just be like, oh, I didn't know that was there. That was varied between these two rhythms and these two chords, different and analyzations of the different melodies, harmonies, chord analysis, harmonization, what have you. Music theory has always been something I've been interested in, but I've always been, um, I've always been told I'm not doing it right, basically by a bunch of neurotypicals, unfortunately. And it just grinds my nerves because I'm there, I'm attending, but you're not accepting the ideas that I'm bringing to the table because they don't follow your ideologies of tradition. Like, I get it, music
Mm.
is subjective, like art, but for me, I'm bringing these ideas to the table that nobody has really expressed or thought about in a band setting, and nobody's willing to listen. Nobody's willing to hear me out, and that kind of lets me down, and that makes me lose even more
Hmm.
confidence in my musical abilities. Because like I'm over here trying to bring new ideas
Yeah.
to the table, and nobody's willing to hear them. Nobody's willing to listen to them, and it's just like,
Yeah. Well, it sounds like music is a language that you understand and a language that you immerse yourself in. And it's so beautiful to describe why music is so important to you. Have you connected with other
no,
Black autistic musicians or someone who
yeah.
plays the
Did you want me
clarinet?
to?
I got to help you
Do you
with
want
that
me
somehow.
to say something?
I would love for you. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Of course. Go ahead, take the stage.
that is something I've been working on
Thank
for
you.
a little bit. So
That's
you're welcome.
it's beautiful. It's very heartfelt. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Yeah, yeah. I definitely will try to find other people who
Right.
share your passion so you can have your own little community. And yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for joining me for this spontaneous live Instagram. And Bobby, Lynn has a question for you. When you use AAC, what do you like using? I use Speech
Oh,
Assistant
use
app
I
and
use the speech
AS American
assistant
Sign
app on my
Language.
phone, but well, no, I take that right back. I don't. I used to, but I use a different. I use my iPad for AAC mainly. I don't really use my phone. I use my iPad. It's Let me see what it's called. Just what is it? Oh, it's called text to speech, and so a it's a text to speech. You type
Mm-hmm.
in, phrases and what have you, and so I and I'm like, oh, okay. So oh man,
Okay,
right, not, I'm sorry. And so
that's okay.
I use, and some people are going to be surprised by this. I use a male voice for my AAC because the female voices are they're in varieties of pitches as well as the male voices, but I feel like the male voices are like centered around a certain tone that I like better than female voices. Kind of ironic, but I use it and I like it. I like
Mm-hmm.
that best. So um, there was
Mm-hmm.
there was something that I typed out that I'm gonna try to play. Get it? Let me know if you can. Uh,
Take your time. Yeah, take your time.
let me know if you can hear this. Oh,
That's okay.
not supposed to be
Okay.
set to 0. Okay. Oh, okay. It's not working for some reason. I don't know why. So, but yeah, it's
That's okay. That's okay. Can I ask you a question? I'm curious, when you go to school, do they know, are they informed about your
I,
disability and
I,
communication needs? So
I,
are your
I'm not gonna lie to you.
professors?
No, they don't. Even when I've spoken to them about my
Mm,
autism and I gave them like documentation for my disability. And so when I met, and I have yet
mm,
to, because I have a new disability person at my school, I have yet to meet. I just haven't had the time to like meet with them. And so I I went to my previous disability head person, and they were like, your accommodations for your hearing loss are the same for your autism accommodations. And I asked him, I'm like, are you sure? That was like, yes. The accommodations that you have in place, which is extra test time, because I get extra test time. And I'm able to go into a different room if I want to take my test, which I don't, because most of my college courses are pretty okay as far as like noise. And then they say like, oh,
yeah.
you use a sign language interpreter and stuff. And I'm trying to figure out, like, I'm looking back on what they had said about it, and I'm like, but it's a different diagnosis. And like, there was nothing new you can add for your accommodations for your autism diagnosis.
Mm,
And and people have told me that's real, that accommodations for autism should
hmm.
not be the same for your hearing loss. And they were the same when I was going to elementary school, middle school, high school, they were the exact same. I was undiagnosed throughout grade school, but I got my diagnosis as an adult, which is why. But they should not be the same. And I'm sitting here right now thinking to myself, those
Yeah.
are two separate different diagnoses.
Yeah.
I got one diagnosis when I was little, when I was like 11 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I got the other diagnosis when I was 21.
Yeah.
Was it 21? I can't think. I got my diagnosis at 20 or one of the two. And like those are two separate different diagnoses. In middle school and high school, one of the disability people who did like the testing for the psychological evaluations or whatever tried to lump autism, tried to essentially compare autism and my hearing loss and put them together. You cannot do that. Those are two separate different diagnoses. One has this set of accommodations, the other has this set of accommodations. You can't put them together. And they tried to do that because I don't know why exactly, but they were saying, oh, you're not, I was tested for autism in school, and they were like, oh, you're not autistic, it's just your hearing loss. But they didn't dig deeper. They didn't try to push for a more deeper analysis.
Yeah. Well, we can meet separately if you need to brainstorm about how to ask for accommodation in writing for your college disability advisor. I'm happy to do that. We can maybe compile some resources.
Is there anything that I missed on my end, or anything that you missed? I'm gonna meet with them first, and then if I feel like I have to, I am gonna like phone you and be like, hey, what are the resources? Because they're all resources where I'm at, but it's like they're trying to put my hearing loss and autism as I mean, they are dual diagnoses, but they are separate diagnoses, given that I wasn't diagnosed with both of them at the same time.
Yeah.
So I find
at the same time, correct? Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Did you figure out your app on your iPad? Is it working now? Do you want to try that or not? That's okay. Don't worry. I thought that it was just slow, and then if it's not playing, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your advocacy work, for spending time with me today, and for agreeing to be an advisor for Autism Career Pathways. I want you to educate all of our team members, watch what we do, what we write, and call us if we could do better. So thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Well, I hope you have a good rest for the rest of the day, because if I were you, I'm brain dead after this. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. Okay. Bye.